Have you ever heard a story so shocking, so heartbreaking, that it left you questioning everything you thought you knew about fame, loyalty, and the price of silence? Before we dive into the haunting final hours of Kris Wu, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this story will take you on a journey you'll never forget, a journey into the dark side of stardom that no one dares to talk about. It began like any ordinary evening in Seoul, the city glowing with neon lights and endless noise, but somewhere in the quiet backstreets of Gangnam, something felt off. Kris Wu, a rising Korean actor whose charm and charisma had captivated millions, had vanished without a trace. His last public appearance had been just 2 nights earlier at a private industry gathering, where he looked calm, poised, and strangely distant. Those who saw him that night whispered that something in his eyes was different, as if he knew something no one else did. When the news broke the following morning, the entire entertainment world froze. A garbage collector reported finding a large black bag behind an abandoned warehouse. Inside was the body of Kris Wu. Fans refused to believe it at first. The media exploded with confusion. How could someone so full of life disappear so suddenly and be found like that, hidden away as though his existence had been erased? Reporters swarmed the streets, digging for answers. Police claimed it was an accident, but nothing about the scene felt accidental. The place where he was found was not on any of his known routes. His phone had been switched off hours before his death. His car was still parked at his luxury apartment, untouched. The security footage from the night before had mysteriously gone missing. Then came the whispers that Kris had been trapped in a silent war between fame and betrayal. Friends described how he had been receiving strange messages for weeks. Anonymous letters slid under his door at night, containing threats and warnings. One friend, an actress named Ha-rin, revealed that Kris had called her at 2 a.m. just days before, saying, "They're watching me. I can't talk now. If anything happens, tell them I didn't give up." The more investigators dug, the darker it became. His manager, who had worked with him for 5 years, suddenly resigned and disappeared. A mysterious woman seen with him at a luxury restaurant the week before could not be identified. And the production company behind his latest film quietly deleted his name from all promotional materials as if trying to erase him from memory. Fans flooded social media with grief and disbelief. Memorial walls were created across Seoul with his pictures, notes, and flowers. Hashtags about Kris Wu trended worldwide for days. Yet beneath the sadness, anger grew. People wanted answers. They wanted justice. They wanted to know why the brightest star had been silenced so cruelly. As the story unfolded, shocking leaks began to surface online. A video clip, allegedly from a security camera, showed Kris arguing with someone in a dark parking lot just hours before his disappearance. The figure with him was tall, wearing a hooded jacket, face hidden from the camera. The two exchanged heated words before Kris turned away, looking distraught. Moments later, the recording ended abruptly. Was it a friend, a rival, or someone hired to silence him? Theories spiraled like wildfire. Some claimed it was connected to a contract dispute. Others believed it had to do with his private life and secrets that powerful people didn't want exposed. A journalist named Min Ji took the risk to dig deeper. She found that Kris had recently been planning to leave his agency and start his own production company, which angered several executives who depended on his fame. She also uncovered voice messages Kris had sent to a confidant, revealing that he feared for his life. In one recording, he said quietly, "I know too much. If I speak, everything changes." By the time Min Ji's article went public, threats began to surface against her too. Yet, the more she uncovered, the clearer it became, Kris Wu's death was not a random act. It was part of a larger cover-up, one that involved power, money, and the hidden politics of fame in the entertainment world. In a chilling twist, weeks after the tragedy, one of Kris's closest co-stars, Ji-han, held a tearful press conference. He confessed that Kris had confided in him about secret recordings he'd made, evidence of people manipulating and exploiting young artists. Kris had promised to release it, but the files were never found. Then, an anonymous user uploaded fragments of those recordings online. In them, Kris's voice could be heard saying, "They think I'm afraid. But I'm not. If anything happens to me, it means the truth was too heavy for them to carry." The revelation reignited public fury. People demanded the government reopen the case. Candlelight vigils filled the streets, fans holding up his photos and chanting his name. For them, Kris Wu wasn't just a star. He was a voice for every artist who had been silenced by fear. Even now, months after his death, questions remain unanswered. His story has become a haunting legend whispered among fans and filmmakers alike, a reminder that sometimes fame hides the darkest truths. The light that shines the brightest often casts the deepest shadows. Have you ever felt that ache when a mystery still lingers in the air, when you sense that the truth is closer than ever, yet still out of reach? Before we continue this heart-wrenching story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications, because what you are about to hear is the part no one dared to release, the final truth about Kris Wu's last hours, the secrets he left behind, and the voices that tried to silence him forever. Weeks after the world mourned, Seoul still carried the echo of his name. Reporters had gone quiet, fans were left in confusion, and it seemed like the world was ready to move on. But one night, Min Ji, the journalist who refused to let the story fade, received a strange email. No subject line. No sender name. Only one attachment, a file titled "The Last Message." Her hands trembled as she opened it. The screen flickered before an audio clip began to play. It was Kris's voice, tired yet calm, recorded the night before his disappearance. He spoke slowly, like someone accepting his fate. "If you're hearing this," he said, "then they finally did it. Don't look for me. Look for the truth. It's all in the files they're hiding under Project Winter Star." That name sent chills through Min Ji. Project Winter Star was rumored to be a confidential agreement involving major entertainment agencies, a system that controlled rising actors, their relationships, their careers, and even their silence. She realized Kris had uncovered proof of how deep the corruption went. Determined to finish what Kris started, Min Ji traced the clues through late-night cafes and hidden data centers, each lead bringing her closer to danger. One evening, as rain poured over Seoul, she received another anonymous message. It contained a location, the old studio where Kris had filmed his first breakthrough role. She went there under the cover of darkness. Inside, the air was thick with dust and memory. On a small desk sat a silver flash drive, wrapped in a note written in Kris's handwriting. "For those who still care," it read. When she opened the drive, it contained hours of footage, Kris's secret recordings showing private meetings, forged contracts, and frightened young actors begging for help. It was the truth he had promised to expose. Before she could publish the files, Min Ji's office was raided. Her equipment was destroyed. Her article drafts vanished. But she had already made copies and sent them to multiple journalists abroad. Within days, snippets of Kris's recordings began appearing on international media, confirming what many had suspected, that his death had been staged to bury a powerful network of manipulation and exploitation within the industry. As the revelation spread, the public outcry was unstoppable. Massive protests erupted across Seoul. Fans, actors, and activists demanded justice for Kris Wu and all those silenced before him. Under pressure, the authorities reopened the investigation. Several executives were called in for questioning, and soon, names began to fall. One of the biggest shocks came when Kris's former manager was found hiding overseas. When questioned, he confessed that Kris had indeed been threatened after refusing to sign a renewal contract that would give up his creative rights. He also admitted that the night Kris vanished, he received a call from an unknown number saying, "It's done. He won't be a problem anymore." The confession shattered the illusion. The world now saw what Kris had been fighting for: freedom, truth, and the courage to break a cycle of silence. Months later, a memorial concert was held in his honor. Stars, fans, and even those who once doubted him came together under the same roof. As the lights dimmed, a large screen projected unseen clips of Kris smiling, laughing, and talking about his dream to make the industry fairer. In his final recorded message, he said softly, "If my story changes something, then it was worth it." Tears filled the hall. No one spoke for minutes. And for the first time since his passing, there was peace, not the kind that forgets, but the kind that remembers with purpose. Minji's article finally went live across global platforms under the title, "The Star Who Spoke the Truth." It became one of the most read pieces in history, a symbol of bravery and sacrifice. Even now, people leave flowers where he once walked. His fans call him the voice that never faded. His legacy continues through every artist who dares to speak up, through every truth that refuses to stay hidden. Kris Wu may be gone, but his story still burns through the silence. If this story touched your heart, hit the subscribe button right now and turn on the notification bell. More untold truths and emotional revelations await. Because sometimes, the brightest stars don't disappear, they become the light that guides others out of the darkness.